Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Total Body Strength. Today we're gonna be doing a pretty, I don't want to say basic, but we're gonna do a pretty standard total body workout. So we're gonna do some pushing, some pulling, some legs, and finishing out with a little bit of core work. So we're gonna do 3 rounds today, 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. And we do need 1 set of dumbbells. I always recommend 2. For the core exercise, if you want to have a heavier weight for that, feel free. I have my kettlebell for that one, but you don't need a kettlebell, just dumbbells is all good. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with our demos. So first thing we're gonna do is an alternating overhead press. So we're gonna have both our dumbbells here. We're gonna come up overhead 1 arm at a time. And really making sure that those elbows are staying slightly below the shoulders and the hands are close to the shoulders when we come back down. So that's gonna be the first movement. Oh, my shoulders are already sore. All right, and after that, we're gonna go ahead and do some goblet squats. And we're gonna go nice and slow here. So we're gonna do 3 seconds down, 3-second hold, and 3 seconds up. So we're coming down 1, 2, 3, holding for 3, and then back up 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be that second movement here. I also forgot to turn the lights down here. So just excuse me for 1 second. 2 right in here for me. All right, there we go. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and do some lateral raises. So we're going to have our dumbbells at our sides. We're going to drive those elbows until they're parallel with our shoulders, pinkies face up. So when I say pinkies up, we're here, pinkies are towards the ceiling. So it's kind of like we are they're like punch the ceiling with our pinky. So that's kind of what we want to aim for there. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and do some Romanian deadlifts here. And so for these, we're going to do them nice and slow again. So we're going to do 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. So really important here, we want to bring our butt to our belly button. Keep those glutes engaged. Our core is nice and tight. We're pushing those hips back nice and slow, like we're closing a door with the butt. And then we're gonna push through the heels, nice and slow again. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So that's gonna be our next movement. And then moving on from that, we're gonna do some bent over rows. So pretty similar position to the bottom of the RDL. We can have that chest up a little bit more. We're gonna take both our hands, we're gonna pull them towards our butt and back down. So we're squeezing like we have a paper in between our arm and our body. We don't want to let that paper fall. We're going to push those elbows up and back down. So that is going to be that movement. And then we're going to finish out with some toe touches here. So you can use 1 dumbbell, 2 dumbbells, no dumbbells. You can use a heavier dumbbell, whatever you want to use today. I'm going to use my kettlebell because I like to do these with heavier weights because my abs are never as sore as the rest of my body is. So I like doing these heavier, but we're gonna have our feet up in the air, and then we're gonna bring the weight up towards the toes and back down. So we're exhaling, using the core, and back down. To imagine us, I want us to all imagine that we have both sides of our 6-pack. We're zipping them together. So if you bring both sides of your core muscles together, that's what we want to feel when we are doing any core exercises. But that is going to be our full workout for today. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our warm up. And we're going to go ahead and make our way to the top of our area. And we're going to start off with the world's greatest stretch. So we're going to open up our hips, our back, our hamstrings, and our upper body a little bit more. So we're starting at the top. We're going to interlace our fingers, grab onto the right knee, pulling towards the chest. We're going to take a nice big deep belly breath. And we're going to exhale, step back into a reverse lunge. Back leg is going to stay nice and straight. Hands on the inside of our front foot. Keeping that stance here, we're going to take a nice big deep belly breath. And we're going to exhale, taking our left hand up towards the ceiling, gazing past our thumb so we get that rotation through our spine, through our neck. We're going to take another deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, plant that hand outside of our front foot, push our hips up into a nice hamstring stretch so we can scoot that back foot a little bit closer to the front. And we're gonna take a big breath. And when we exhale, we're gonna bring our feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. Wonderful. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we're gonna interlace our fingers and take the left knee, pulling the left knee towards the chest. Nice, big, deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, step back into our reverse lunge, hands on the inside of the front foot. Nice, big, deep breath. And we're exhaling, opening up towards the right foot this time. So right hand towards the ceiling, gazing past our thumb. We're gonna take a big, deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, plant the hand outside of the front foot. Push ourselves up into the hamstring stretch. Nice, big, deep breath. And we're gonna exhale, bring our feet together. Push the ground away and stand on up. Awesome. All right. Last part of our warm up here, we're gonna go ahead and get on the ground on our hands and our knees. Make our way down. And we're gonna do a little bit of, we're gonna do a few quad rocks here. So we're gonna kind of warm up our core and our hips again. So we wanna create a nice flat back. So bringing that belly button into our spine. Don't want any curves here or here. We wanna be nice and flat. So finding that neutral. And then we're gonna go ahead and inhale, bring our glutes to the heels, and then squeeze the glutes and come back up. So we're inhaling, rocking back. Exhaling, coming forward, keeping that back nice and flat, rocking back and forward. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 more, coming back and forward. And last one, rocking back and coming up. And from here, we can go ahead and make our way back to standing. We're gonna grab our dumbbells and we're starting off with our alternating overhead presses. I'm gonna get the timer going here. We're getting ready. 3, 2, 1, and go. So we got both of our dumbbells at the shoulders, one arm at a time, coming up overhead. We're alternating here. Want to make sure those elbows are slightly in front of our bodies. When we're all the way out to the side, that puts extra pressure on our shoulder joints. We don't want that. Want to protect our shoulders, especially as females. We all have looser joints than males do. So we want to protect those shoulders, keeping those elbows tight. At the bottom, our hands are going to be a little bit close to the body here, but those elbows are just slightly below the shoulder. We don't want to come all the way down here. We want to be just slightly. 3, 2, 1. All right. Nice job, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get ready for our goblet squats. So we got 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up with a 3-second hold at the bottom. 3, 2, 1. So again, we're bringing that butt to the belly button. Bring that core together. Dumbbells underneath the chin. We're coming down. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna hold. 2, 3. Drive those heels through the ground. 1, 2, 3. So when we drive through the heels, we're going to feel that in the glutes. So we're mainly going to feel this one in the glutes and in the quads. Want to make sure that as we're coming down, our knees are tracking past our second toe. So those knees come forward at the same time that the hips come back. And then same thing on the way up. So I see this pretty often where it's hips and then knees. Want the knees and the hips to go at the same time. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have our lateral raises here. So we're gonna have those dumbbells at our sides, coming all the way out. Making sure we're stopping at parallel. 3, 2, 1. So again, pinkies towards the ceiling, elbows driving up and back down. Wanna keep our dumbbells outside of our legs the whole time. We want to really feel this in the sides of our shoulders. So that's why we want to have those pinkies up. If we pretend like we have a plane of glass all the way along our shoulders, we want to break that glass with those dumbbells. So we're staying nice and tall. Our core is tight, keeping those hands, just like with our presses, slightly in front of the body. Protect those shoulder joints at all costs. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up we have our Romanian deadlifts. Again, just like with our goblet squats, we're going nice and slow. 3 down, 3 up, 3, 2, 1. So our feet are directly below the hips. We're pushing our hips back. 1, 2, 3. And push the ground away, drive through the heels. Really focusing on those heels. So even if we just are standing straight up, if you push your heels into the ground, your glutes are automatically going to be activated. That's where we want to push through. So we don't want to use our back to pull back up. And I often see that happening if our chest comes down too far forward. So we want to stop right when our hips stop moving back. So the chest is roughly going to be parallel with the ground. Keeping that core nice and tight. Pull the sides of the core together. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have the bent over rows. So it's going to be very similar to the bottom of the Romanian deadlift. We don't have to have our chest fully parallel. 3, 2, 1. So we want to squeeze our shoulder blades together like we're squeezing an orange here. So our upper back is nice and straight. Push those hips back, bring the dumbbells towards the butt. So we want our hands to be tracking outside of our legs. So our hips, right, our back, like we're closing that door. So we're bringing those hands back, and that we're going to feel all in the side of our back muscles here. So that's the goal of this movement, and that's going to help us with posture. If we have some low back pain, we want to strengthen the back to kind of help with all of that. Squeeze. 3, 2, 1. All right. Final movement of round 1. Then we got 2 more rounds to go. We're going to do our toe touches. So you can use a dumbbell, the kettlebell. 3, 2, 1. You can use whatever weight you feel comfortable with, and whatever weight you can do without using momentum. So I like to pause for a second once I'm fully on the ground, and that will help kind of decrease that momentum of using that. We just want to use our core muscles. So again, like we're zipping the core together. So zip each side of your core muscles, bring them together. It does help if we also exhale on the way up to help engage the core. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right, and that is it for round 1. So we're getting our dumbbells ready for alternating overhead presses. Stand back up. Finally warm enough to take my jacket off. 3, 2, 1. All right, we got our dumbbells, one arm at a time. Keeping those elbows slightly in front the whole time. We want about 45-degree angles here. Also keeping that core tight still, so we're still zipping that core up. Our butt is still to our belly button. I see it happening too, where we're up here and that back is arched. We want to really tuck that pelvis in. Just use the shoulders, keeping those wrists nice and straight. Whoops, I leaned back a little bit on that one. But it's really important because as we arch that back, we put that pressure on our low back. We don't want to create any issues here with that back. Keeping that core tight. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have goblet squats. So we got 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. Feet are hip width apart. I find when we have our feet wider, it's harder to get that depth that we need. 3, 2, 1. So if our feet are hip width apart, we let the knees, so the inside part of the knee, so at the bottom, the inside part of my knee is right over my second toe. So those are where we want our legs to be. We want those legs to be nice and loose. It's really easy to kind of make them a little bit tighter than they should be. We want to be nice and loose through our hips to help us get into that position that we want to be in. Still squeezing that orange in between our shoulder blades, just like with the rows, just like with Romanian deadlifts. Driving through the heel, big toe, little toe. So again, those heels, driving the heels through the ground, it's going to help us activate our glutes. But we're going to feel it mainly in the glutes and in the quads. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have lateral raises. So coming all the way out to the side, stopping at parallel. When we come up too high, again, we're going to engage other muscles than just the shoulders. 3, 2, 1. We want to stop at parallel again. 1, protecting our shoulder joints. And also second reason is to, again, we want to just use our shoulder muscles. When we lift those weights a little higher than our shoulders, we start to engage some other muscle groups. And I really just want us to focus on the shoulders, stopping the hands outside of our legs. What happens when we come together is 1, I see a lot of momentum with the weights hitting together. And also the minute we're here, we do not feel it in the shoulders anymore. So this creates a constant tension, which can help with strength and muscle building here. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up we have Romanian deadlifts. 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. Same as every other movement we do, feet hip width apart. 3, 2, 1. So we got butt to belly button. We're squeezing an orange in between our shoulder blades, keeping that back nice and flat. Also, really important to sink into our hips. So our knees should be slightly bent, but our knees should stay directly below our heels the whole time. So I find it really, again, common to see the knees come forward. The minute the knees come forward when we're bent, it turns into a squat. We do not want squats here. We just want our hips doing the work. So our knees are bent, they're staying there. Push the door closed behind us with our butt. So if you act like you got your hands full of groceries, you got to close the car door behind you. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have bent over rows. So we're going to push those hips back again, really keeping that core tight. So zip the 2 aspects of your core together. 3, 2, 1. So by keeping that core tight and sinking into our hips, it's going to help us keep our core engaged and keep us from feeling it in the low back in terms of using our low back to keep our body in that position. We don't want to use our low back to do that. We want to use the glutes and the core, but our low back, we are still going to feel some sort of, tension because we still are also working those low back muscles. So that's like things like RDLs and bent over rows. Anything where we are in this position will also help strengthen the back if we do have low back tightness. 3, 2, 1. All right, last part of round 2, we got our toe touches. So getting ready on our backs on the ground. And again, you can use whatever weight you would like. 3, 2, 1. You can even use no weight while we are learning how to activate the core. So right now, we're here, we're relaxed. We push the 2 sides of the core together. We zip that up. Keep that there. So keep it. Exhale, lift up and back down. It also helps to engage the core. So really push that belly button into the ground. So if we're here right now, if my back is not on the ground, I'm feeling that all in my legs. But if we push the belly button into the ground, we're going to start to feel that in the core. Takes that pressure away from the hips, from the legs. We really shouldn't feel any of this in our legs, but all of it in the core and maybe your arms. 3, 2, 1. All right. Awesome job, y'all. We got one more round to go. Starting back at the top, we got alternating overhead presses. 3, 2, 1. So keeping those elbows slightly below the shoulders and hands slightly in front. Keeping that core tight. So we're still zipping that core together. Even the glutes should be slightly engaged too. We don't want to be loosey-goosey here. We want to have that slight tension. One arm at a time. I forgot. It's all good. We're reminding each other, one arm at a time, keeping those wrists nice and straight. Great job. We're finishing strong. I know round 3, we can be a little bit tired. That's where we really make a lot of progress. 3, 2, 1. All right. Great job. Done with that movement for today. Next up, we have goblet squats. So 3 down, 3 at the bottom, and 3 up. Feet hip width apart. 3, 2, 1. So for this one, you can actually use 1 or 2 dumbbells, whatever feels good for you. I'm just keeping both of mine because it's easier than going up and down to pick it up. So if you want to be like me and be a little bit lazy, all good. But keeping those knees over the second toe, keeping that core nice and tight, our back flat, pushing through the heel, big toe, little toe, so our foot is like a tripod. And we're going nice and slow. Great job. Moving nice and slow like this can help us get more, again, muscle engagement, can help us get stronger, and help us build some muscle in that lower body. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have our lateral raises. Last time doing these. 3, 2, 1. So for those who don't know, I think most of us probably do, but shoulders are my favorite thing to train. And my 2 favorite movements are overhead presses and lateral raises. So both of them, I think, are really good to work on the shoulder as a whole. So we can get, more of the sides of the shoulders worked in this one. And then with the presses, it really just engages a lot of really good muscles, a lot of good stabilizing muscles. So I just really like both of these for building the strength, and as well as creating a nice shape for the arms, especially with summer coming up. It's warming up. 3, 2, 1. With the weather warming up, it's good to kind of, we can get nice shoulders through those 2 movements. All right, we got our Romanian deadlifts next. 3, 2, 1. So keep that core engaged. I find for myself that even if my back is nice and straight, if my core is not engaged, then I get that low back tension and that low back pressure. So really zip that core up, push the hips back, push through those heels. It also helps when we exhale as we're coming up, because that will then keep that core engaged, engage those glutes, and help with the explosiveness. I know we're going nice and slow, so it's not as explosive of a movement, but generally we want to exhale as we are contracting our muscles. 3, 2, 1. All right, done with those. We got bent over rows. Then we're getting on the ground for our toe touches, and then we're going to do a nice cool down, and then we'll be ready to go. 3, 2, 1. So again, core is tight. Zip that core up. Bring the elbows. We want to drive the elbows. So very similar to the lateral raises. If we have glass going all across our back, we're going to break that glass with our elbows coming back down. Hands staying on the outside of our legs. And also, again, pretending like we have a piece of paper in between our arm and our body. Don't let that paper fall. That's going to engage all of the back muscles that we want to work here. So that's what we want to pretend. Don't let that paper fall. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement of the circuit. Toe touches. And then, like I said, we're going to cool down, but we are going to be, we're going to flip over onto the hands and knees. 3, 2, 1. So get that belly button pressed into the ground, and then bring those legs up. Keeping that core engaged, keeping everything nice and tight. But like I said, after this, we are going to be on the hands and knees for our cool down. We're going to do a little bit, we're going to do some quad rocks with that adductor stretch. We're going to work on opening up our hips And then we're gonna do a little bit more rotation, opening up our spine and kind of stretching out our shoulders and our back. We got a few more of these to go. Finish strong here. 3, 2, 1. And that is it for today's circuit. So nice job, everyone. Go ahead, grab a sip of water if you need it. And then, like I said, we're gonna be on the hands and knees. So we wanna be back on the ground. I'm gonna face this way for y'all. So hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. We're gonna take one leg, stick it straight out to the side. We're gonna get the arch of this foot in line with our knee. Keeping that pinky toe on the ground. We're gonna do that same movement that we did for our warm-up. We're gonna inhale, rock back. And exhale, come forward. So keeping that core tight, rocking back. And exhaling, coming forward. We're gonna do 2 more, rocking back. And exhaling, coming forward. And last one, rocking back. And exhaling, coming forward. All right, after that last one, we can go ahead and bring that knee back up underneath the hip. And then we're gonna do that same thing on the other side. So we're gonna take the opposite leg straight out to the side. Keep that pinky toe on the ground. We're gonna inhale, rock back. And exhale, coming forward. Keep that pinky toe on the ground, rocking back. And exhaling, coming forward. 2 more, rocking back. And coming forward. And last one, rocking back. And exhaling, coming forward. All right, we can go ahead and bring that knee back up underneath our hip. And then we're gonna finish off with some thread the needle here. So I'm gonna start with my right hand here. We're gonna reach through in between the left arm and the left leg, bringing that head to the ground. We're gonna push the back of the hand into the ground, and we're gonna pull away with our upper back. So our upper back is gonna shift away from the hand, and this is gonna help us open up right underneath the shoulder blade, as well as a little bit into our trap muscles and a little bit into the shoulders. So we're gonna do a few breaths here. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And one more deep breath. And as we're finishing our exhale, we can bring that hand back up underneath the shoulder. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So left hand coming in between the right arm, right leg, push the back of the hand into the ground, pull away with our upper back. Again, we're gonna feel this right underneath our shoulder blade and also into the backs of the shoulders. And we might feel a little bit into our traps if those are tight today. Nice big inhales in through the chest. Sorry, in through the nose. And then exhaling into the mouth. If we breathe into our chest, we're gonna feel that nice stretch as the chest expands. We're gonna go ahead and do one more breath. And as we are finishing our exhale, you can bring that hand under the shoulder. And then from there, feel free to stay on the ground, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. That is going to be all the time we have for today's class. So thank y'all so much for joining me. Hopefully we got a nice total body workout through that. As a reminder, we do not have any classes tomorrow. So we are closed in the fitness center as well as virtually. So no classes tomorrow. Also no classes on Monday. It's a holiday. So no classes until next Tuesday. But thank you all for coming. Nice job. And then I'll see y'all next week.